I really don't know what I'm here to say today. I just felt like getting on the mic and maybe, dare I say, be a little casual, a little more spontaneous. Kind of aligns with yesterday's act of dyeing my hair like this violet red. And if you're watching on video, you can see the tones. The sun kind of went down a little bit, so it doesn't look as red now that it's a little bit darker. But yeah, I am just arriving home from a little lunch that I had with my parents. We went to go get some fish tacos and some micheladas, which is my favorite combo. And maybe I'll just do like a cutie little life update. What's been happening in my world for this first half of November and the energetics that have been present and at hand. This weekend I'm actually going to Austin, Texas, and I wrote this in a love letter newsletter that I sent out the last week of October about how Austin holds such a special place in my heart. And it sounds corny, but I mean, I did spend my college years there and then like post-college years there. And I want to read some of the, I don't know, memories that I have with this city. I brought it up in my newsletter because I was sharing about my embodiment circle that I'm hosting. First in-person embodiment circle that I myself am hosting. I've been invited to host for groups, but this is the first one that like I'm putting on, and I have my dear friend Camila who will be doing a meditation and sound bath. There will be cacao, there will be poetry, there will be beauty all around, because that's what women do when we gather. We create really beautiful, vulnerable spaces. So that's how it came up, and I wanted to share because I was reflecting on like what good old Austin, Texas means to me. So let me read this. This city is near and dear in my heart for many reasons. It is here that I met my lover, grew into early adulthood, studied at the University of Texas, built my career in journalism/marketing, cultivated my most cherished friendships. Truly, like that community in Texas is like die hard. Actively participated and created in my first ever book club. And then Nere and I, my dear sister-in-law, we created our own Latina book club. Yeah, wow. I remember, there's much more to go through, but I remember in that specific time, I was just so like quiet and shy and a little bit like in my shell when it came to group spaces and like quote unquote leading group spaces. But really I would just like let Nere lead because I didn't feel like my presence was worthy enough, maybe, you know. And like you're in your early 20s, like that's normal, of course, like just a lower amount of confidence, but very cool to see my growth and witness it. Attended tailgates because the love for Texas football is contagious. Okay, that one was honestly a little forced because I don't love Texas football. I will be part of the hype and I will be part of the crowd and attend all of the tailgates and dance and eat barbecue and have Tito's vodka, which is from Austin. Like, yes. And I will wear the cowboy boots and the merch and support my alma mater. But like the football part is like the one thing that, I don't even know like anything about it. Ran my first and second half marathon. Yeah. I ran my first one in 2020, right before COVID, with Sai. And damn, again, my squad pulled up with signs and cheering. And I remember the night before we were like out drinking and like, I think we literally went to 6th Street, like West 6th, back when, you know, when you're 22 and you can get away with it. Yeah, I remember because it was one of my dear friends, Anna's birthday, and then from there we went out, and so all of my friends showed up like hungover with like makeup on from like the day before. So cutie. Okay, next. Co-founded a creative agency with my 3 besties. Yeah, that one was a big one. The creative agency was around for about a year and a half, and we were all spread out, the 4 of us, between like, or I guess all over Texas, West Texas, and then North Texas, and then I was in Central Texas, and we would like coordinate the weekends when we would shoot client shoots. And I remember getting on Zoom calls for freaking hours and brainstorm our offers, and obviously, oh my god, all of the fun stuff too. Like we went to South by, and the organic networking that happened. Oh, all of the social creative assets that we brainstormed and dreamed up and then ultimately executed for ourselves and then for clients. Like that was a huge edge for me. And also working with your friends is so like, it has so much, there's so much juice to learn from, like to extract and like really dissect and reflect on what you can learn from the experience. So yeah, that was beautiful. Spent many early mornings cold plunging at Barton Springs. This was like the last 6 months of my time in Austin. I met and became really good friends with Maddie, and I met her through book club and through Nere, my sister-in-law, and I remember those last 6 months in Austin, I was really struggling with mental health and anxiety and finding comfort in my own skin. I was like falling into a little bit of a depression, and she would go and plunge at like 6 a.m. at Barton Springs, and from there she would go to these like yoga, breathwork, meditation circles at Zilker. And so I would see that she would post on her stories, and I was like, can I join you? And I went for months after with her, and it really moved something in me. And I think that was like another little phase of wellness that I had. I remember being sober during that time. Yeah, just like trying to do everything possible. I did, what's that one? Acupuncture. I was trying to do everything possible to like tend to myself and yeah, like overcome this like anxiety that I was really like battling. Launched a podcast, which I've talked about, The Bold Ambition, and then Las Hermanas. And now we're here with Aliveness and much, much more. So, wow, there is a lot. There's a lot there. And I guess it's like a little love letter to Austin, Texas. But wow, just a little bit of a personal reflection on where I'm at. And I will be in Austin on Sunday for 2 weeks. And if you happen to be watching this or listening to this before the 18th, please come join us at Aurora House, where we will have this in-person embodiment circle experience. I'd love to have you. Apart from that reflection that I've been sitting with, I guess I've been in a portal of stillness, maybe. I can't really think of the word. It's like I've birthed all of these projects creatively, and I'm anticipating a slower end to the year, especially after how big October was. I think these last few weeks I've just been like resting and allowing myself to be in the quiet of just myself. And also Sai right now is on a solo trip in Japan, so it's been really great to be at home and also cozy up at my parents and hang out with friends for wine nights and game nights, and just maybe even like tap into a little bit more of my own ritual self-adornment on like, you know, the whole dyeing my hair thing, and putting in just a little bit more intention on cozy, comfy fits which reflect how I'm feeling, which is like cozy and like slowing down and warmth and just like being in my sanctuary. And I did talk about how I launched my website and a few of my offerings. So I feel like after that kind of went out into the world, and I still of course want to talk about it and share it, but I'm like, okay, now I get to just like relax and chill. My psycho neuroenergetics training happens every Friday for 2 hours. So I'm also soaking that in. I'm hanging out with my favorite people online over there who speak my language and who know what this work is and what it's about, from a facilitator's point of view. Yeah, I think it's been a season, at least for the first 2 weeks of November, of being okay with the silence, embracing it. And I know that these next 2 weeks, once I get to Austin, like, I might be more of a busy bee and I might be more of a social butterfly, and seeing friends, celebrating them, welcoming in my nephew. Oof, yeah, there's a lot that I actually have been thinking about what I want to share on here. Like with a mic to my hand, to my mouth. I guess, yeah, queerness and femininity and viewing and the making of life as an altar. Alchemizing and beautifying your spaces and yourself as an offering to life. And also I actually met with my human design gal, Tessa, doing a really great program with her. I met with her last week and I went on this like passionate tangent around the wellness trope keeping us from being enlivened. And this is a very generic blanket statement, and I've been this person before, of like vilifying anything that isn't quote unquote healthy or quote unquote wellness oriented. Like, God forbid I have a fucking, I don't know, margarita with my friends and stay up until 2 a.m. and dance and pee on the side of the road. Like, that is kind of, those are the memories that I most cherish and love and like feel fond over. And that wild expression of myself, that enlivened expression of myself. And like, yeah, like what we are, I think, at a crisis of where everyone just wants to be home in the comfort of their own couch, watching other people live their lives versus going out and living their own. This is a huge like statement, and if you're watching this, it probably doesn't apply to you. But it has been something that I've been sitting with, of like, where is my wild, untamed 18-year-old self that would like go to music festivals and be spontaneous and dye her hair purple and pink and silver and blonde? Like, it comes in so many different ways, and it can be subtle. It can be so subtle, or it can be a little bolder, like taking these spontaneous trips and, I don't know, doing psychedelics. That's a little more bolder, right? On the bolder side. But what I'm getting at is that you don't have to abandon yourself to become enlivened. And actually, like, you can do all of those things so intentionally to be enlivened and to encourage more swayed hips and more laughs and more giggles and just like being in the utter chaos and madness of life. And that is actually probably going to be what I'm going to talk about next week or something. I think this came to me a little it's always been something that I kind of go back to because I am such like in the culture of like Mexicanidad and festivals and all of these things. I have really great mirrors and reminders of people in my life who like practice this very thing that I'm talking about. But a couple of weekends ago, Sai and I wanted to go to a music festival, and it was like day of. We kind of overlooked it the past couple of weeks or the weeks before, and so when the day came, I was like, wait, it's 10 a.m. There's a music festival happening in our city. Let's go. And there were some really great bands that I wanted to go. Empire of the Sun, Soe, to name a few. Chainsmokers. And in that moment, me and Sai like sat down. Sai was about to leave to Japan like 2 days later. And he was like, we have a lot of shit to do at home. And the dogs. And we got to clean. And we got to do this. And we got to do that. And like these responsibilities came through. And ultimately we decided not to go. However, we promised ourselves to look for the next music festival, 3-day kind of situation, and commit, because that was like what we did when we were like 19, 20, 21. That's how we fell in love. We would go to these festivals and camp there and just like be in the experience with our bodies and our toes and our tired feet in our like Converse sneakers. So yeah, that was something that we were like, okay, we're not going to make it happen this weekend, but like, this is clearly something that we very much enjoyed and we haven't done it in a while. Let's give ourselves the opportunity to experience that again, because, you know, we owe it to ourselves. I even owe it to my younger 19, 21-year-old self. She loved that shit. So yeah, that's kind of where that reflection came through. And I think I'm going to just be more intentional about it these next few months and this next year. There are a couple of fun things that I have to look forward to. Like I'm going to Bad Bunny's concert in December, and come February we'll be doing Art Week in Mexico City. So there are some really more out of the box experiences that I've been, I don't know, manifesting, and now I'm gonna make them happen instead of like waiting for them to land in my lap, which these both of kind of did land in my lap, but I'm actually in a space where I can receive them and say yes to them. So that's the practice, really. Yeah, that's actually what I want to practice more of. So yeah, I think I feel complete with this share. It feels personal. It feels like a cute little update after the last 2 weeks of being a little more in my own solitude and stillness. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your week. If you're in Austin, I hope to see you at my Embodiment Circle. And yeah, besitos, abrazos. Oh my gosh, one more thing. If you have not yet already, please go see Juan Gabriel's docuseries on Netflix. I saw it this weekend with my family, with my parents. What an icon. I am heavily inspired by this icon that is Juan Gabriel. I've always known who he was, like in the background. I didn't really pay too much attention. I knew from like generations before me, but seeing and watching his story and like the home footage, and that moved me, that buzzed me. That I've been listening to Juan Gabriel's Bella de las Artes, Palacio, I forgot what it's called. Palacio, I'm dead. Palacio de Bellas Artes. I've been seeing that concert on YouTube, like having it in the background while I work and just watching old videos and listening to his music. Rocío Dúrcal as well, because I have been a fan of hers prior to the documentary, but I didn't know like all of the juice and nectar that was there. So let that be something that you walk away with, of like going to watch that documentary, that docuseries. It's only 4 episodes, so okay, I love you. Besitos.